Hello and fuck cape shit. Welcome to another episode of Shittywebcomics Weekly, brought to you by our Subscribe backers. Check out Subscribe for all the hidden videos that the rest of you aren't allowed to see. You're only able to see them if you back us.
Megatons of truth bombs.
Yeah, the brutal truth bombs that's fucking... again, if you want to see what other people are going to be saying by next year, check us out now. Especially on Subscribe. All the stuff on our Subscribe is basically, in a way, ironically, we're the real tastemakers of the human race, and that's been proven too. That's not just us like bragging, like, ooh, we people say what we say. It's actually been seen as that we've been saying stuff. We say stuff, and then other people are like, no, that's not true. And then, like a year or two later, again, the Ethan Ralph stuff was a fucking perfect example. In 2019, we're like, oh, Ethan Ralph is a disingenuous person who's a pathological liar and embarrasses himself in public when you even question him a little bit, just on accident. On accident, we got Ethan Ralph to
I had no idea.
to lie and admit to bias.
I didn't expect any of that shit, really.
I didn't expect it to be so easy.
Talking about Ethan Ralph,
because we've done that before with other people. We've done that so many times with so many other people. I didn't expect it to be so easy to play Ethan Ralph into doing that on accident, but we did. And a couple years later, what happened? Everyone realized that we were right all along. And
but they acted like we weren't.
A million more examples of that just coming up that right now nobody else is saying. If you want to know what everyone else will be saying by next year, though, check us out on the Subscribe. Give us money. But also, I mean, you can watch these videos. You should just give us money for us doing these videos, because these videos are even our free videos are so good. Dude, it's so cool. Wanted to finally cover some Penny Arcade, and I was like, I know we have this old ass archive that somebody made for me where they dug up a bunch of our old posts on, I think, like Web Archive or some shit. And some of these I think were just screenshotted when they were being posted. Somebody went through the tags for Penny Arcade.
Internet Wayback Machine. I wonder if we could do a fucking video about either OMM or the Misanthropic Bitch, or maybe both.
Those would be good. I remember Misanthropic Bitch. I didn't read Misanthropic Bitch for that long, though, but Old Man Murray, I read that for years, even after they stopped updating.
Yeah.
But that's
also if you play Portal.
But you know what? Old Man Murray is actually a great example of, like, Gamergate happening 15 years, or literally 15 years early, because they were been posting since 1999 saying the exact same shit. And then they got hired at Valve, which is cool. Valve, the best company. If we're ever going to fanboy about something, it'll be Valve, because Valve changed the games development and the industry and the
earlier
store.
It's like, not enough people really appreciate Half-Life.
Yeah,
it's like all the fucking, when people talk about
the most underrated game ever.
Yeah, well, when people talk about, like, timeless eternal class, there was somebody, I forgot, it was the latest Call of Duty. It was like some fucking thing from the latest Call of Duty. It's like, look at these fucking weapons of the World War II. It's like, yeah, you'd have to be an embarrassment to still be playing the series. So why are we even bringing it up?
Yeah, nobody plays Call of Duty anymore. Call of Duty is a joke in my town. That's what I think. Anyways,
I don't care how many people play it. Nobody plays it because they're nobodies.
Anyways, I wanted to go. We have like several ideas of different things to cover about Penny Arcade, because Penny Arcade we were very groundbreaking on. I don't mind saying that we covered Penny Arcade in a way that nobody else ever did. And again, if you want to check that out, make sure you fucking hit the bell for notifications. But you want to
you're still subscribed. Make sure you still hit the bell for notifications.
But also, for fucking sure, donate to us on the fucking Subscribe, because you'll get super early access to all the stuff about us digging into Penny Arcade, secretly being paid to make comics without them admitting it, putting product placement in their comics secretly and not admitting it. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. So if you want to see that early, at least, you gotta donate. But anyways, for now, I just want to cover a little bit of the content in our Shitty Webcomics classic archive that goes so far back. You can see this post here, March 8, 2013. Holy shit, this is old. But it's just it's them trying to gloat and brag about how it's like, yeah, that's right, we're fucking, ever since my Surface Pro review, everybody wants me to get this shit. I'm a taste maker. I make tastes, and it's like, this is unironically how they viewed themselves when they got just a scrap of fame. Which it was more than a scrap, of course. They have, they had a whole charity for themselves, where they donated fucking video games to dying kids, and it's like, gee, thanks. I could use money for chemo, but a Game Boy Advance, all right. Can you grind up the Game Boy Advance, put it in my bloodstream?
I used Game Boy Color in fucking 2012. Gee, thanks.
But again, it's like, okay, whatever.
They're fucking donating, or they're donating.
But they had packs. They had fucking, an entire convention named after them. But there's
donating to kids Shin Megami Tensei, and it's like, it really opens up when you've grinded to level 10,000. It's like, great, I'll be dead before I hit level 10.
Yeah, it's like fucking, this Gaia game. I'll fucking get halfway through it and drop dead just from being so incredibly old. My body will have aged 60 years from just the chemo alone as I'm playing this gay-ass piece of shit game. But, there was a lot of bizarre and very sus shit. They were being sussy bakas, I guess you could say.
Definitely were, before it was even called that.
But especially regarding, like, PAX, it was like, okay, wow, the Penny Arcade guys have their own convention. Turns out, no, their name is just on it, but some other guy runs all the business shit. And I have a feeling he walked away with a vast majority of the money that was made in their names. But we're going to try and look at that later. That's a whole other fucking topic.
That's what happens when you are actually capable of taking care of business.
Yeah, taking care of business every day.
Other people.
TCB in a flash. But anyways, yeah, so I'm a tastemaker now. I remember this just annoying the shit out of me, of course.
It still does.
Yeah.
And if you're smart, it should.
But especially because I added at the bottom, God help the game company that doesn't give these whores free shit. They will shit all over your game, which had happened, of course.
Yes.
Is they would talk about that in the news posts. Like, we got this copy of this game from the company. Oh, it's so cool. But then if they would, it's been, since 2013. But I remember them being like, they wouldn't even give us a copy of their fucking game. And then the comic would be about how the game sucks or something. There would definitely be some shit like that just on the surface.
Their complaint would be either just a lukewarm bullshit that anyone had already been saying, or just something that was unrelated to the game. It's like, fuck this game, it looks so stupid.
Yeah, or it would be like non sequitur. There's a big handful, and again, we'll cover that. There was a whole era that really started around 2011, where they just started like doing random shit because they were kind of running out of ideas for video game jokes and shit. But to be honest, that also started in 1999. The first Penny Arcade comic I ever read. Actually, I think I got linked in Old Man Murray or some shit like that, maybe Portal of Evil. But it was linked as like, oh, here's a cool webcomic about gaming from someone. And I went to it, I went to the latest comic, and it was an unironic proposal of marriage from Bald. And he didn't even draw his character, he actually drew himself, and it was like, it was just this giant wall of text, though. It's like, for ever since we met, and it was like, will you marry me? And I was like, oh, this is the gayest thing ever. Like, public marriage proposals were already fucking cringades, AF, TD Max, but doing it in webcomic form was just painful to see. And ever since then, I never liked Penny Arcade. And that was 99 or 2000.
nobody fucking, everyone made fun of fucking Lost. Nobody made fun of this.
Yeah, I know.
Except for us.
Exactly. We're always beyond the cutting edge. Sometimes decades, sometimes centuries.
It's the nanometer cutting edge.
Yeah, but again, as another example, for the longest time, and if you've seen one of our previous video, I think it was a couple weeks ago at this point, where we cover Penny Arcade, and we say it was the pig bald edits, and we're like, the original one of this isn't bad, so we're willing to say when some of the jokes they did were good.
That's what it's like to actually have integrity.
Yes, that's what it actually looks like. Isn't that cool? That's pretty cool.
Apparently, there's people who don't understand that.
Yeah, here's another example, though. Speaking of a lack of integrity, this was, I basically threw in a reference out of nowhere to their lack of integrity because this comic was about how, like, people care so much about our opinions. And it's like, yeah, you get fucking bribed for them for the most part. Which this was another example. New SimCity, shipped broken, always on digital protection, means that on release when the servers went down, no one was able to play. Gigantic scandal, angry gamers demanding refunds. EA's new, barely functional content delivery system, Origin, in doubt of having a future at all, which also came true because, and again, this was March 8, 2013, so this is the same day, isn't it? Yeah, I think I went through several and just made like 3 or 4 posts.
I remember pointing a lot of this stuff out, actually, as soon as I even heard about their comic.
Yeah. Yeah, especially early on, but this was way late into it. This was early in our blog.
I'm trying to remember.
We had posted about this and talked about this a lot of times before this. But anyways, yeah, so Origin, which now has basically, it hasn't collapsed necessarily, but they took all their games that were on Origin and now just sell them on Steam. And they're like, here, it opens a little mini version of Origin, but the fact that they're like, okay, we would clearly make more money selling our games on Steam than making our own version of Steam.
I mean, it was primarily also because it was fucking annoying.
But the most important thing is there's all that giant and again 2013, so this was a whole year plus before, like a year and a half before Gamergate was even a thing, and we were not the only people trashing EA for these fucking things. In fact, this is what I was saying right here in the post, is that it's a gigantic scandal, angry gamers demanding refunds because the new SimCity game was just shipped broken. And then what is the comic? The fucking Penny Arcade comic is about, you can zoom way down in SimCity, check out all this shit, and they zoom in, and it's like a bunch of graves being dug in the background, and you can zoom in, and the guy's like, shh, no, don't. And it's like, oh shit, that's a wacky joke. And it's like, and so I say, as I say here, paycheck status cashed. Because if anything, Penny Arcade knows the real game. Don't bite the hand that is paying you shitloads of money. Again, this proves it. This really goes to show. This is what Penny Arcade would take payoffs to fucking make a comic about a video game that was a disaster, and the comic would be completely ignoring that. Is there such a saying about that? Like some kind of, not conspiracy of silence necessarily, but fucking just the way people will turn a blind eye to shit. And people would make excuses for Penny Arcade when this was obviously a fucking giant mess for them, even. Yeah, here's another one, March 18, 2013. So yeah, I did fucking do 3. I might have done more than that. March 9th. Okay, whatever. March 9th was the aftermath where Penny Arcade fans came in to do some copious Maximus. But here, the next one, Tetris Anywhere, error, could not log into block server. And it's about how this fucking Tetris game is like, would you like to purchase a fucking line block for 15,000 bucks? And it's like, oh shit, they're going after a thing. But this was, again, to sort of do damage control. Penny Arcade sweating under fan pressure, the armpits of their Little Mermaid t-shirts stained yellow, which is a reference to a real thing. one of the Penny Arcade guys had a Little Mermaid poster in his fucking living room, which quite gay. Even if you're like, oh, dude, those are the classic Disney movies.
You can appreciate the movie, but why the fuck does a grown man have a poster? Yeah. That is one thing about nerds.
He was fully bald.
That's just so fucking annoying.
Yeah,
it's like, look, this is a classic thing. He's fucking idiot.
Nerds are so gay.
It's like, it's stupid though.
It's stupid. It's gay AF. And if you said that back then, it'd be like, I didn't know you guys were homophobic. Now everyone else is like, yeah, it actually is pretty gay to have a Little Mermaid poster in your living room where you play video games.
Actually, now it's worse than that because it's like, oh, it's a sign of degeneracy. No, not really. It's just a fucking annoying ass nerd with shit taste.
Yeah, all you faggots saying that would have supported this guy back then, but now you're like, they don't even say anything. There aren't even words. They're not even saying words.
Use your words.
Which is for sure proof that they are bad people. Anyways, the armpits of the Little Mermaid t-shirt stained yellow bashfully hands EA's paycheck back, in part or in full. Not at all, I'm sure, actually. I was being way too fucking optimistic and happy. I was really happy-go-lucky back then. I was not cynical at all. And makes a completely indirect joke about the SimCity disaster, of course, without ever naming EA or SimCity at all. Noses red with shame. Of course, in their blog about the comic, all their news links about EA and SimCity are links to their own site's news section, so that you would never dare read about the news anywhere else but them. Also, a nice easy art day for Pig-like, as all he had to do was play Tetris for 20 seconds, screenshot it, do a little photoshopping, either draw some tiny portraits in the second panel, or even worse, reuse old portraits he already had. Which is pretty clearly what this is. So yeah, even the comic is phoned in. But here, yeah, March 9th, the next day, we got an ask saying, so basically, wait, let me do the voice. So basically, and here's what it actually says, though. So basically, you guys love comics no one's ever heard of. Again, that's right out of the fucking gate. No fucking argument. Right out of the bat.
It's pathetic cope. Oh, nobody's heard of the comic that
you like the comic that I'm not familiar with. So is that what you do? And it's like that, but that's usually proof that it is good. It's like, just because a comic is popular doesn't mean it's good. Just because a comic's not popular doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, usually it's the other way around.
Whenever anything's popular, I have to fucking be skeptical of it. Anime. I've fucking been burned so many times by anime fans recommending their shit
because it was trendy anime. Too. Just only the trendiest anime. Fucking anime that wasn't trendy ended up being actually relatively decent. But the thing is, I forget if I point this out. I'm going to read the whole thing, but what he's referring to as comics no one's ever heard of is stuff like Buttlord GT and Perry Bible Fellowship, which
a lot of people have heard of Perry Bible Fellowship, yes, especially but it also goes to show how jealous these people are.
Yeah, it's you can tell, again, by the timing of this, that this was one day after the Penny Arcade post. You can tell this is a fan of Penny, well, especially because he says, you guys love comics no one's ever heard of and shit all over people who have made a name for themselves from nothing, starting their own conventions and charity organizations. Okay, then, as if charity organization means your comic is good and that you're a good person, instead of a person who, as we've shown, clearly takes a payoff to fucking do damage control for big corporations.
I wonder how much charity fucking Nancy Pelosi donates to when she fucking makes money with her fucking insider trading.
Yes, it's
probably enough.
Not to mention the amount of money from like vaccine graft that's clearly happening. The payoffs people are getting.
She's helping to donate to further research on deadly diseases, and it's like,
to make them and administer the deadly diseases.
You can claim that, and you're wrong, and you're lying.
Yeah. But anyways, the response, I'm pretty sure, was by me, saying self-aggrandizing charity functions and other such wankery. This doesn't. I'm like, did I say wankery? Why would I? That doesn't sound like me.
That's definitely not me. It could have very easily have been fucking.
Could have been cool mod. But it's still.
This would have been early on when we didn't fucking preface our posts with like a moniker or a name.
Very early, but like usually the first person to reply would just be like whoever it is. It wouldn't matter. And then I think later we kind of changed it. I don't know. I don't even remember. Again, 2013. It's like 1,000 lifetimes ago for us.
We changed
people who have lived 1,000 lifetimes per year, just with the advances in human thought that we make. Unironically. I'm not saying that as a joke. That's actually happened.
I wish I had one of those computer memories.
I wish you had more time.
I've got a lot of stuff. That's why we save so much stuff to computer, to hard drive.
And even this, I didn't save this stuff. I never saved any of these posts. Other people had to because they were so good. Which is, again, that's not my opinion.
So that's the thing is, when the fucking blog got taken down, we partied. But the rest of you are missing out, clearly.
The rest of the world despaired. In fact, I remember people being like, oh, this is really fucked up. And people on Tumblr were like, wow, now that Shitty Webcomics is gone, I don't think I have any reason to read. There's barely any posts. I used to be able to refresh every few minutes and find a new post.
There's no reason to read Tumblr.
Yeah, and people left Tumblr because our blog was deleted. Unironically. Of course, we
had to start the blog again.
Probably like 1,000 people, in fact, just straight up dumped Tumblr because we were gone.
Maybe more.
Yeah, who knows that? That is speculation. That's me speculating. I'm just guessing.
Following back.
I don't know for sure. I do know that we had a ton of followers.
Yeah, we had on Tumblr we had thousands.
Yeah, but we also had several people saying, "I don't register. I don't have an account on Tumblr, but I bookmark your guys' site."
You know that was more than that.
Yeah, who the fuck even knows?
Because there was no page count.
Mr. Mediker was one of them, or at least somebody who got fucking Mr. Mediker's attention. But he posted a fucking screenshot of one of our posts when Gamergate happened in one of his videos.
We were on that the day it happened.
Yeah, the literally same day. So yeah. Anyways. This is a good point, though. Self-aggrandizing charity functions and other such wankery has nothing to do with somebody's ability to craft a coherent piece of entertainment. We rip at these guys because we've seen what they've done before, over and over and over again. The stuff we like, maybe you haven't heard of it, but it's bright and creative and usually timeless. By today's standards, many of the current successes could not make it in the same market they themselves worked to temper. This does not sound like me, by the way. I have no idea, but whatever.
It doesn't sound like me either.
Yeah, well, no, this one's definitely not you. I know this one's not you.
I don't know what typing style I might have used, but eventually I got really tired of having to read.
I can tell by looking at this that this wasn't you. But anyways, so to say they made everything themselves is not entirely true. That's also getting into something. I found a fucking Ask Me Anything on Reddit from the guy who actually runs the Penny Arcade business, and it's not Pig or Bald. It's this other guy who basically approached, said, I can brand your comic and turn it into all these other things. And they're like, sure, just make sure we get a royalty check. And they do. Like, even when they show up to their own fucking convention, they seem to be strangers to it. Like, I've seen pictures of them. They're like, we went to this and we got a T-shirt. And it's like, yeah, it's your convention.
People are listening to this right now and they're like, are you you're attacking them for that? No, I'm not.
Yeah, if anything, that was savvy of them to let somebody else come in, brand their shit, and give them a big fucking paycheck.
I absolutely
the thing is, it created a false sense of importance in their minds of themselves.
But that's what the fucking ask is implying. They created they created packs. No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did not create packs, and they did not create child.
And in fact, you're a fucking retard if you actually thought that they did.
Well, guess what?
They obviously did.
Are a fucking retard. You got a point there.
Oh. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it,
now that you mention it. Anyways, by today's standards, many of the current successes could have made. Yeah, so
they're very much ladder pullers. A lot of people are like that. the whatever you call it, where they fucking pull the ladder up behind them.
Yeah, they climb the ladder, then they pull it up behind them so that you can't climb that same ladder. Anyways.
And they'll always find an excuse to fucking justify that, to call it something else. But that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I think this one was Cool Mod or something. Anyways, long ago in the latter days of...
whatever, Fab? Or
yeah, there was H&M, Hairy Neck Mod.
He had a different name.
Yeah, that could have been... In fact, yeah, that might have been him. This one might have been him. But anyways, continuing on with this, though, because this one's pretty long. Long ago in the latter days of King Clinton, there was no market. There was no competition. Anyone who could draw was immediately very popular. The quirkier, nichier bullshit rose to the top.
That is one thing the internet has revealed, is how common it is to find somebody who can draw.
Yeah.
And do music and stuff like that.
Yeah, even Sam Hyde is like, finding someone who can draw is extremely common. It's finding someone who can make an interesting original idea, though. That's rare. And the Penny Arcade guys held it down, as in, getting to that nichier bullshit. Okay, so good job being successful, guys. But now, thanks to the incorrect redefining of the word genius, someone needs to inform the ambitious youth looking for direction that these guys are, in fact, not the end-all of creativity and probably don't need to be emulated. Why they are... actually just a bunch of lucky assholes who had a slightly better shtick than the other nearly identical mediocre guys next to them, which is proven by the fact that Control-Alt-Delete and especially stuff like questionable content was also incredibly popular, where neither one of those comics is even remotely good or readable. In fact, most people hate read them, if they read them at all, or people read them because they're like brain damage. They have, one of the modern brain damages or something. But
we've known a few people like that who are like,
yeah. And a lot of these people who are angry, they're like 14 years old too. They're like, oh, I'm capable of, like, they're so pretentious. They're like, oh, anime's genius, Penny Arcade's genius. And it's like, you're 14 years old. You don't know shit. You probably never will. But even if you do, it won't be when you're 14. You're stupid. You're stupid. You pay
There's
for
plenty of
cable.
shit I liked when I was 14 that I don't like anymore.
Yeah. When I was 14, I was pretty stupid too. Although I liked Star Trek Deep Space Nine and TNG. That was good.
And am still way smarter than a lot of people nowadays.
Yes. Anyways, yeah, there are a bunch of lucky assholes who had a slightly better shtick. Not even really that much, but yeah, they fucking... In fact, to be honest, going back to the oldest Penny Arcade comics, they're painfully stupid and obvious. They're obvious. But let's see. The kids must know that bad works cannot be given credence. Bad works insult your intelligence. Read stupid things, become stupid. Simple as that. That's what happened to Penny Arcade fans, after all. And again, Control-Delete, incredibly popular comic, but
there was a bunch of others that I just don't remember the names of.
Yeah, there's several others that we've just straight up forgotten from that era.
Better ones, even.
I mean, there's like Sluggy Freelance, which I never went back to find out if it's bad or not.
Video game web comics, there was like 100 of them.
Oh yeah, there was 8-Bit Theater. 8-Bit Theater became massively popular, and it was dog shit. It had some of the worst, the laziest, most fucking cliched attempts at forced meme writing. It was like, the warrior guy, it was Wacky Ducks and Cheese.
It was typical anime bullshit. Penguin of Doom, Wacky Ducks and Cheese.
Yeah, bullshit. The 8-Bit Theater was what an anime fan would think is funny, which means it's the most unfunny thing in the history of the human race. But it was early enough that the guy got popular anyways. You don't have to have, if you get there first, you don't have to have any talent or skill or smarts. You just have to be there. And that's why Penny Arcade became famous. That's why Control-Alt-Delete also became famous. Control-Alt-Delete had a fucking cartoon. And Penny Arcade didn't even have a cartoon when that was happening. That means Penny Arcade was on the exact same tier as Control-Alt-Delete. And you're really going to tell me that Control-Alt-Delete was a good fucking webcomic ever. It's really, because the thing is, it's not even like underrated or underappreciated. It was actually bad even before Loss. But the thing is that other comics were just as bad too. Like the fucking um, questionable content. The Troon comic where fucking Martin fucks a Troon. Or what about the one where
that one went out for years
where
before
fat
that.
bitch watches her own dad blow his head off? That one was at least as funny unintentionally as Loss, but people do not appreciate that because they're not on our level. They're not capable of realizing,
A
like,
lot
it
of the
didn't get turned
people,
into a meme for them, so they didn't know. They
a
didn't
lot
know
of
that
the
it's
people
just as
who
stupid.
fucking laugh at the fucking Your Beautiful Troon comic have no idea that happened in the comic.
Most of them think that's an edit or not real, or they've never heard of the comic or something.
They have no idea that there's a fucking page of the fat bitch's dad killing herself.
Yeah, which is fucking 10 times funnier than Lost. The fact that Lost got so overused and boiled down that people literally turned it into lines, though, was pretty funny. But again, there's worse. There was like people are like, "Oh, Lost is the most bizarre, inappropriate. This is supposed to be a video gaming humor comic, and this guy's having a fucking
It's not.
miscarriage and all that shit." And it's like there's 100 times more stupid, inappropriate, hilarious, unintentionally fucking
Who was the fucking guy?
shit
Was it
in questionable content than that.
Blended Goose? It's the guy who fucking basically psycho stalks our fucking
Yeah.
accounts. But he fucking made a parody or something of another pre-existing
Yeah, it was
video
called Shredded
web
Moose.
comic.
Yeah, there was one called Shredded Moose that was also trying to be like Control Alt Delete, and it went on for maybe 1 year, and then the guys who made it were like, "Eh, this is stupid," and moved on. And yeah, we had some fucking completely psychotic troon, so an average one who became obsessed with our blog and thought that they were going to support us, but also that we were going to support them or something.
That we're
And
gonna fall in love with them or some shit.
yeah, as it turns out, they have their own Encyclopedia Dramatica page and Kiwi Farms thread that's pretty sizable, I suppose. I haven't looked at it in a long time. But I ended up finding where the guy's name is and just how many alternate names he has, which is close to 100 at this point. So yeah, and I think he still fucking posts. I think he posts to Twitter where he just gets money for like give me tranny surgery and takes the money and pays fucking webcomic artists just to do, I think possibly to do copy paste clip art that he can then make his own comics based off of. And I think he still
I
does
stopped
that to this
following
day.
him because I had no interest. He was like,
Yeah, no,
he
I've
was like
completely
a full
lost track of him years ago. And I
he was
ended up
full tank,
seeing
and
something. I think he tried
I
to come back
lost
to our
interest
Discord
when he
server.
did that.
A couple years ago, he showed up, like trying to secretly shill the fucking his stuff again. And I booted him, and he fucking now he goes around being like, "Oh, this guy kicked me." He blames my brother for banning him when
Which I didn't.
that never happened. But now he also hangs around a lot of the other people that we've known, trying to glom onto them and doing the whole buttering you up thing to be like, "Oh, I can help out. Make me a server mod. You're great. Your videos are great." And most people just go with it because they didn't learn what we've learned. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna even dig into their lives that much to fucking get into it. It's like, if they find out, whatever. But anyways. Let's see. So
I
read our
definitely
blog
don't.
instead.
I don't appreciate being used like that
Yeah,
by these mentally ill people.
which has happened quite a few times too. Is that people came to us hoping we would give them validation, but they were completely incompetent and weren't doing anything.
They were extremely uninteresting.
But also at the same time, we've had people who are competent come around, and we've known them. Like I could go over just a huge list of name dropping, and I'm not going to, because you already know who they are. And just goes on and on. The people we're actually friends with, is because usually they actually did something for us, whereas the mentally ill people just want something from us and don't do anything. But they also always want credit for, like, I helped you guys out. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you didn't. You fucking used us to try and promote your shit. And that's happened thousands of times at this fucking point, that I'm not gonna fucking even somebody who wants us to I have to actually like what you have made personally, on a personal level, in order to promote anything you do. Otherwise, I'm not even gonna touch it. And that's not my fault. It's fucking, that work is on you as the creator to get my interest. If you can't get my interest, then you need to try harder. You need to actually compete for my interest, which is why we have higher standards than everyone, and that's why sometimes people actually do work for our interest, and those people are very cool too. Anyways, so yeah, as this post is continuing, read stupid things become stupid, simple as that. So read our blog instead, learn what is stupid and why it's stupid, and become smart, all with a delicious candy shell of oh so funny, great humor, and perfect humility. And then another mod, which I'm sure this is me. This one is me. I'm quite positive. Have people really never heard of Gun Show, Horribleville, or Perry Bible Fellowship? Is Oglaf really an obscure name in comics? Is Chainsaw Suit flying under the webcomics radar? Stuff of the world I want to get off. Somebody kill me, please. Here's another, though. Because we knew we got people angry from trashing Penny Arcade, we continue to trash Penny Arcade even more.
That's what happens.
Yeah, but you know what? We'll continue on with this in the next episode of Shitty Webcomics Weekly. And again, we're going to be covering a ton of Penny Arcade in the future, going further back than this, actually. Especially I wanted to cover was when they started doing secret product placement that was far more blatant than even the Sims or SimCity comic that they did. But we'll come back to that, relatively soon. Like, share, uncomment, whatever. Donate money to us on our Subscribe Star, and should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.